Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a really mind-bending idea from the Omniscience Jinn channel. It's all about fate, control, and this question of who, or maybe what, is actually writing the script for our reality. So let's just jump right in with a huge question. Seriously, think about it for a second. Is your life a performance? And if it is, who wrote the script? This is the core idea we're going to break down today. Okay, so the whole concept here is that our existence is being shaped by two totally opposite forces. You've got this one perfect, true script that comes from a true director. And then on the other side, you have a whole bunch of flawed, false scripts from these so-called false directors. And we're not talking about a small difference here. The source draws this great comparison. It's like the difference between a real, genuine masterpiece and a super convincing forgery, you know? They might look alike at first glance, but at their core, they are worlds apart. So let's start with the first piece of this puzzle, the true director. This is the being that the source says operates with, well, absolute and total perfection. According to this idea, the true director is some kind of supreme being that exists completely outside our understanding of time and space. It's this presence that has already seen, already calculated every single possible outcome. Its plan isn't just good, it's absolutely flawless. It's already been set in stone. Now, to help us wrap our heads around this pretty abstract idea, the source uses a really powerful metaphor, a master archer. Okay, check out how this process works. Before that arrow even leaves the bow, the archer has calculated everything. The wind, the speed of the arrow, even how the target might move. So when the shot is finally fired, the hit isn't just likely, it's 100% guarantee. It's one single, perfect, complete action. And this just nails the whole idea behind the true director. This quote from the source says it all. The moment the arrow is fired is eternity. Everything is already complete. What that's really saying is, from this being's point of view, the outcome was decided the second the plan began. All right, so we've got the perfect, effortless archer. Now let's flip the coin and look at the polar opposite. The false directors, and how they do things. It's a completely different game. So, who are these false directors? Well, the source describes them as these different, powerful forces that are, at the end of the day, imperfect. They're totally convinced they're the ones in charge, and they're always trying to jam their own scripts onto reality. There are a bunch of them, they're all competing, and they all think they're the real, true director. And the metaphor for them? Well, it's about as far from a simple, elegant archer as you can possibly get. Instead, we're talking about a modern GPS-guided missile. It's all about complicated, clunky, and ultimately flawed technology. Just look at this process. The missile launches, but right away it needs GPS to guide it. It's constantly making these little real-time corrections to try and stay on course. It's this ongoing struggle, right? A constant interference just to attempt to hit the target. This isn't perfection. It's a scramble to fix an imperfect plan. So you see the pattern here, right? The whole existence of these false directors is just defined by effort and struggle. They use these false scripts, which are a mix of truth and lies. And they need to be in constant control, always scheming, always playing this game of real-time strategy. And all the while, they're fighting with each other, each one deluded into thinking it's the real boss. This brings up a really good question. So how on earth do these two things even exist in the same reality? How does the archer's perfect shot and the missile's chaotic, messy journey connect? This slide just lays out the contrast perfectly. You've got the master archer on one side, one perfect shot, 100% accurate script, and a result that is absolutely inevitable. Then on the other side, you've got the guided missile, constant corrections, flawed scripts, and a result that's always full of struggle and uncertainty. It's a total clash of philosophies. And get this, despite all their power, all their scheming and constant interference, the source makes a pretty bold claim. No single false director has ever had a success rate higher than 70%. Their very nature is just imperfection. And here is the big twist. This is where it all comes together. All of it. The false scripts, the constant struggles, the scheming, even that 30% failure rate. All of it was just a part of the original, perfect, true script from the beginning. The master archer had already factored in the missile's chaotic flight path before the arrow ever left the bow. So, what does this all mean for us? For our existence? For free will? Well, this is where the whole framework leads to its final, and maybe its most challenging conclusion. Wow, the source really doesn't pull any punches with this quote, does it? NPCs will always be NPCs. Everything you do is required by the plot. The idea here is that any beings caught up in the struggles of those false directors are basically non-player characters in some giant cosmic video game. They're just fulfilling a pre-written role. And if you thought that was a lot to take in, it goes one step deeper. Even though their actions aren't really their own, they're just dictated by the plot, the source claims these beings still face eternal punishment for the part they play. And that raises this really tough philosophical problem, this idea of being held responsible for something when you never had any real choice in the matter. And that brings us to the final question we want to leave you with. If it's all just a script, whether it's the perfect one or one of the flawed ones, what does your role, your part in all of this, truly mean? It's a thought that kind of challenges our whole sense of purpose, doesn't it?